Welcome to the Why Not Today podcast, where we celebrate courage, determination, and the power of saying, Why not today? I'm your host, Leslie Kane, and in each episode, we dive into inspiring stories of individuals who have taken bold steps, faced their fears, and embraced the possibility of today. From entrepreneurs to artists, dreamers to doers, we explore the moments when they said, Enough waiting. Why not today? Join me as we uncover the heartwarming, the audacious, and the transformative. Whether it's a lifelong passion, overcoming obstacles, or simply choosing joy, our guests share their journey and inspire us all. I started this podcast in honor of my father, Patrick Kane, who often said, Why not today? And why not today, I feel like, is a movement to encourage and inspire people to live their life and live it with purpose, joy, courage, and to pursue your dreams. And so I always ask or say, remember, you're just one decision away from changing your life, or one, as I call them, why not today moments. And so my guest today is Linda Boosinger. Did I pronounce that right?
Boosinger. Just like
Boosinger.
it sounds. Boosinger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boosinger. So
It's
I
not really my name, it's my husband's name. So
Okay, so Linda Pierce Boosinger. So I
that's right.
recently
Here.
met Linda at a networking event, and she's the sister of Tina Johnson, who I've had on the podcast a couple times. And I know Tina's backstory. And so I was curious for Linda's, and I keep popping in, meeting you. And we had a great call the other day. And I love everything you have that you're doing. And so I'm excited to hear your story and all your businesses. And um, you're very creative and you sound a lot like me, bounce from here to here, all these ideas. So, Linda, why don't we start with a quick intro of who you are, not your whole life story and not your courage journey. I always have to tell people that because I say don't do it and then they go off on this tangent. And then a fun fact about you, and then we'll get into your courage journey.
Okay. Well, Linda Boosinger, as we talked about. I'm from, it's kind of the whole thing's a courage story, right? I'm from the hills of Virginia, Lake Lynchburg. Grew up in a house with no running water and no heat.
Crazy. And you're
To
not, for people that are just watching and not, or just listening and not watching, she's not like 100 years old to
No,
be in a time where they didn't have running water.
yeah, foster kids. Yeah, yeah. Um, that to date, I've created 15 companies and 27 revenue streams.
Wow.
So quite the difference.
Impressive.
Yeah.
All right. So a fun fact.
Well, a fun fact is I actually was a private investigator for a year.
Oh, did not know
I
that.
took a break from corporate. I mean, I have my own business, but all of my clients were Fortune 500. And so kind of took a break from all that and did something completely different.
Yay. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was insurance fraud. It was
Okay.
case was over $8 million. So it wasn't, cheating spouses or anything
Okay.
like that. I
All
wasn't
right.
hiding in the bushes or anything, but anyway, yeah.
So, Linda, what does courage mean to you?
Well, I think it's the old saying everybody says it's, being afraid and doing it anyway.
Mhm.
It's not knowing what's going to happen and just rolling the dice.
Yep.
It basically starts out with, I want something to happen or I want something to change and doing what it takes to make that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And taking the steps. And as I call them, my why not today moments.
That's
When
right.
you made that decision and your life completely changed. So you've had a journey, lots of courage and why not today moments. So share maybe your first why not today moment you remember and your courage as your courage journey and
Oh my gosh, the first one, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I have every day, I think, to be honest with you, as a business owner, every day is, okay, what do I do now? Even going to a networking event is courage for some people. It is for
Oh,
me,
absolutely.
you know.
And it's
Um,
especially courageous. We were just talking about one going on this evening. It's courageous to get out of your house when it's cold and you've been inside working today and
right,
have to leave.
right, exactly. Well, whether you're, going from what I call a real job, a payroll job, one that pays you every week to starting your business or even to branch out or, do something different. And it's all those little steps count. I have a saying, it says, even baby steps will get you there. just start moving in that
And
direction.
I often talk about on on the podcast with guests is sometimes people's why not today moment and their courage is literally getting out of bed some days.
Absolutely. Yes,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah, some days it's just the
Mhm.
little teeny tiny steps. It doesn't have to be big things.
That's right.
So,
I mean, I think when I was, because I remember being like 8 years old, and I used to go outside at night a lot and look up at the sky and the stars, and it's a big sky, and I would see stars over there, and I would think, okay, who's living under those stars? Who are they? You know what I mean? What are they doing?
oh,
So
wow.
it's always drawn to over there, something different, beyond. You know what I mean? So even at
Yeah.
that age, it was, I want to go over on that side of the mountain.
You
You
have
know?
problems being present in the moment. You're always jumping to the next thing.
Um, Yeah, that's the thing. I'm a creator, because I've
Mhm.
talked about this today with somebody else. Like I own a renovation design business. I own an interior design business. I do trade shows, trade show and conference business. Everything I do is creating something. I specialize in historic preservation. So, I'm always creating or renovating or restoring or whatever, something. So it's kind of like when an artist creates a piece of art, they don't just stop and then just dust that one for the rest of their life. They create
Right.
another.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I fall off, because I create something and then I'm terrible at maintenance part. I'm terrible at just living with, so that's when on top of everything else, I buy a house, I live in it, I renovate it, I sell it. I buy a house, I live in it, renovate, sell it
So
over
you
and
get
over
bored
and over and
easily,
over and over again. Yes, I get
like I
bored.
do, like jumping from thing to thing. I did work for a company for 11 years, but I think I had 6 different positions in that time.
Oh,
Like, okay, I've
wow.
mastered
Great.
that. What's next?
That's
Um,
right. Right.
yeah.
And,
So
everyone's different, but that's
yeah,
kind
so
of.
let's talk about your journey. So you started in the hills and you were in the foster care system. Was it
Was foster child, yeah. And then some relatives took me for a while. And then I moved to Loudoun County when I was about 15. So I was here until the late 90s. And then I moved to Tampa
okay?
um, for family and jobs and stuff. And I stayed in Tampa for 25 years and built several large companies. Including a stair business. I did that too. I had that for a long time, been in the construction trade for 30 years. And but still worked up here too. Came up here a lot doing
So how
trade.
did you get the courage to start businesses? Like did you um, go to college? Was it after college? Did you skip college? Did you start opening businesses? What was the first step in starting a business? Or what gave you the um, inspiration to do that? Because it's kind of a scary thing.
Yes, yeah, it is a very scary thing. And I think it's honestly, I think it probably, like everyone else, it started out because I had kids, you know,
Okay.
having a business at home and sort of being able to make your own hours and, that kind of thing. And again, we had our big stair business corporation that was sort of paying the bills. So for me, it was starting my own business. Our resting connection is I worked for Sterling, well, System Center, used to be System Center, and then it was Sterling Software, kind
Okay.
of like AOL, kind of like
Okay.
that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
When my son was what, like 2, and now he's 34. So that tells you back in the day.
Yeah.
So I was working for them doing software type stuff. And then we started doing events on the side. And then that's how I kind of got into events, doing conferences and things for the software company. And then that rolled into, I ended up working with Dr. Jeff Goldblatt is a professor at George Washington University, and he was doing the Olympics, and I was sort of on the committee for the Olympics in the Atlanta. And then they were trying to do the Olympics in Florida. So kind of took me to Tampa, and then I started a celebrities for charity business. So I took 200 celebrities to Las Vegas, to Los Angeles, to New Orleans, to New York. The clients were like the daytime Emmys, the NFL. These were big. It was all for charity. It was all putting celebrities together just to get people to come together to raise money.
Right.
So,
So with starting all these businesses, so that's a lot of businesses and it takes a lot of work.
mhm.
Like, how do you just wake up one day and like, I'm starting this business? Like, how can we give people courage and hope and help them in their journey if they have an idea? Like, did you wake up, have an idea, and the next day start an LLC, or what were your kind of courage, why not today moments and steps in doing this?
Yeah. Well, even when I first started, I was like, hey, I want to have an event planning business that's going to raise money for charity. That's where I started. Okay, well,
Okay.
how do you raise money for charity? You got to have celebrities that are there, that people are going to buy a ticket and come and visit them. Because that's kind of how it was back in the day, because you didn't have social media and you couldn't
Right.
see it, right? So I found the closest event to me that was having some celebrities. They were daytime stars, soap opera stars back then. That was a big thing because I already had my NFL guys. So I went to an event that had soap stars. One of them was standing in line at the buffet. I walked up and tucked his tag in and said, oh, your tag's in. I just made it up. That really didn't happen. And he was like, oh, thank you. And I said, yeah. And then we started talking. And I told him about the NFL and my guys. And that thing led to 200 celebrities. That's
All right.
just
So
it.
you just casually say you're NFL guy. So what was that about? Like,
Same
did you have a
thing.
business?
Same thing. I mean, I had the NFL was my client, and I did Super Bowl parties. At the Super Bowl. I was in charge of
Okay.
events before and after the actual Super Bowl. But again, ran into somebody. I wanted to do this. I like, okay, I go out and I say, how can I reach those people? How can I find those people?
So where'd you come? I want to go back. You're diving too far in. Like, how did you, like, starting a business is scary. I mean, I've run a business for 30 years, but hitting the button to start the LLC and then figuring out what I want to do. So how did you figure out, what you wanted to do? How did you get started? How did you ramp it up so quickly? Um, yeah, what are some of those steps?
Well, it's
I know you're
kind
going to
of
teach a course on it soon.
well, you're passionate about it, right? I was passionate about that at the time. Like I'm passionate about preserving historic properties now. So I created a restoration design business that does just that. And then my passion drives whatever business I'm creating. And then I'm networking. So then when you're talking to people about it, and you go back and you look at, because the newest business I launched, Akros Consulting, is coaching private clients, small businesses, growing, it's an advisory business to small businesses. And that came about because at this age, I'm going to be 60 in 2 years. And I'm just sitting back thinking, okay, what did I do best at?
Right.
Even if you're 25 or 35 or 45, you say, what am I good at? And finding that you love and that you're good at. Even when I'm teaching my clients, I'm saying, okay, look at everything that you sell, take it down to the core. What's the one thing that your clients want that you can sell in your sleep? What's the one thing that comes natural to you? And focus back down on that, because we go all over the place,
So
we
what's
start,
yours?
mind changes. That's the thing.
You
My
just said
passion
focus on your
change.
one thing. So what is your one thing now?
Helping small business owners create their, I'm writing a book. It's called From Income to Empire.
Okay.
It's making that shift between just creating a paycheck to creating a legacy. And
So what
that's
does that look
what's
like?
important. That looks like, well, you have to watch my webinar next Wednesday at 12 o'clock to get the whole thing. But basically the program at the end of the day is you build partnerships. I'll give you a little a free tip here. Okay.
Okay.
So the biggest thing that people don't understand when they start a business is they think, okay, I'm going to start a business and then I'm going to grow it. And 3, 5, 10, 20 years, I'm going to sell it. And then I'm going to retire and live a lovely life. So what I tell them is, okay, there's something called assets, right? You have your laptop, your phone, your desk, your, whatever you have. There's a difference between your assets and that sales price, right? The sold price at the end of the
Right.
day. So all that stuff in the middle, there's an accounting term for that. It's called goodwill, right? So you have to take yourself out of the situation. If yes, you have your desk and your phone and your calculator or whatever, but if you're not in the picture, what's left of the business?
Right.
Most of the time people realize, oh crap, there's nothing left. There's no business if I'm not there because I'm doing everything. So that's why I teach people how to create partnerships and how to treat contracts, and understanding that if I'm a hairdresser and the lady in the cubicle next to me is a hairdresser, and you both have your own business, and somebody's trying to buy that business, how are you going to stand out? How are you different? What's going to be different is her client list or her connections that she has with her vendors or deals that she's made to get certain products that other people can't do. It's all those extra things that are going to make your business more valuable than the other one.
Yeah,
and that's what I
absolutely.
teach people.
I used to, in my previous career, worked in broadcasting, and I literally went to radio and TV stations when people were selling them to value. I mean, we valued the equipment. Like I could tell you the value of a tower and a microphone and all the things. And then
Right.
we also did the contracts, like Howard Stern's contract,
Mhm.
the
Oh my
different contracts and things, their value and, you
Yeah.
know, their advertising list and all those things, which are so important.
Oh my gosh. I have so many funny stories about that, about having celebrities come to our events and them getting their contract, what they want in their green room, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, you're getting their contract and they put it in there to see if you're paying attention. But sometimes it's things like, can you pick the green marshmallows out of my Lucky Charms? Because I don't want them in there. Anyway, just talking about contracts made me think about that,
Yeah,
but
a little crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So in starting your businesses and through your journey, did you have like moments that you remember, like you woke up, you couldn't sleep, you're like, okay, this is an issue I need to deal with, in
Every
starting
day,
businesses. Yeah.
the time. Like that's what it is, keeping you up at night. Um,
And what gets you to act where most people roll over or don't sleep?
well, that's
And
what
where was this model? Like, most people I can point back to, parents were entrepreneurs, or where did you get your entrepreneurial spirit, or is it just the fight in you?
I think it's the fight. I think it's because I see something I want and I need money to buy it. So that's what makes me driven. And you get passionate about something. If something's waking you up in the morning or the middle of the night and you're excited to get to your desk or your computer to start doing it, working on it, then you're on the right path.
Right.
That's really what the key is. And for
Yeah.
me, once I build it, I can move on to something else.
So how do you build from starting? Because you hear how many people start businesses and then they fail. Percentages are so high, or they give up or they quit.
Well,
How do
because you
you
sort of create the
build?
structure, right? The basic structure of it, and then you start testing it. Because you know what I teach my clients is I could spend 6 months or a year creating the perfect business, the logo, the website, everything I need to do. And then you put it out there and then you realize, oh, that's not what people want or need right now because the economy shifts, which is why I shift, which is why I diversify, which is one of my classes, how to diversify in your own business. You sort of like trickle it out there to see what if people are really trying to buy what you're trying to sell. Maybe you're packaging it the wrong way, or maybe, for me, having a business in Tampa where I renovate houses and construction and be in that world, I was doing that for a long time. When I came here to Loudoun County, it didn't fit the right mold. I put it out there, but instead of customers coming to me or clients coming to me to help them renovate their house, here builders were coming to me. General contractors were coming to me and say, hey, we're missing that intro piece. We're missing that warm and fuzzy piece. We need you to go meet with the client and help them pick out things and explain how it works. And once you get their plan and you get everything done, then come to me as the general contractor. That is completely different than how it is in Florida. So it's also territorial,
Yeah.
I already had the package. It just didn't fit here. So that meant I had to just shift it, and that's okay,
Yeah. You've done amazing things, and I admire you and all the businesses and the success of them.
Probably have a short attention span. That's probably what it really is. But
But you
well, I'm
built
gonna tell
some
you one thing.
successful businesses.
I'll tell you one thing that I read a quote by Warren Buffett a long time ago, and it has been my motto for life. And that is, if you're not making money while you sleep, you will work till the day you die.
So how do you make money while you sleep? I understand that, but for somebody listening.
Yeah. Well, so your business is selling for you. For example, right? I have a website, akrosconsulting.com. You can become a private client, but on there, you can buy my program. You can, download something that's free on there, or you can pay, $29.95. Most of my stuff's free, but there are other websites that have that sell things, book
Right.
or a book. And that's somebody clicking in another country, another state, somewhere else in the middle of the night, buying your $12.99 is making me money while I sleep. And
So
it's not
how are
that,
people finding
but
you?
well, another way is I own a construction company. I have a partnership with a flooring person, right? So the flooring person is out there selling. I never even meet the person. I never even see the floor until the end of the job. But that person is, we're working together. You know what I
Right.
mean? So sometimes and to me, that's making money while I sleep. It's just putting money into my pocket where I didn't take my time out of my day to do something, because there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Yeah, that is so true. And I was listening to something the other day. They were talking about multiple streams of income and important it is. And they also said people just starting a business, you don't have the focus to do the multiple streams of income. You need to get the one started, one built. So what
Right.
tips would you give for somebody starting a business? How do you find the people? How do you get the word out? How do you, if
Well,
some woke up and wanted to start a business, how would you, if you didn't have the connections, your first one, how did you get the word out? Where'd you find people or how did you connect? And I know it's changing every day
to support you or for clients, you mean?
for clients. Like, how do you grow your business? Get your word out about your business.
Yeah, well, find out who needs you. What I always
How do
say
you,
is,
how do you do? I was talking yesterday to some people with
yeah.
something, and I was talking numbers, which is one of my things, and I was going really fast, like this, and they're like, Leslie, you're talking like Charlie Brown. We can't even hear you. So let's dumb it down.
Right,
Like if you had somebody who couldn't sleep, they had an idea, they're scared to death to start a business. They
right,
finally come up with maybe, and most people I found in talking to them, where they start and where they're finishing are completely different.
exactly.
And so if they just had that idea, that inkling, like what are the
Yeah.
first steps? How do you get the word out? How do you grow to be a
Well,
successful business?
it's also about how are you wording it? How are you phrasing it? For example, if I wanted to start a business, I would go online and I would Google what people are searching and what are the pain points. And that's what I saw for my small businesses. That's what I saw for my renovation clients. It's I'm known as the fire marshal out in the conference and trade show world, because my specialty is coming in at the last minute and putting out a fire. Like, my executive director quit in the middle of the night and our conference is 2 weeks out. What do I do? And this has happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Can you come and fix it or stand in and do it? Because I've done it for so long. So I kind of know all that. I mean, whether I'm emptying trash or I'm running the show, I know all the processes, right? So that's kind of what that is. But and I did digress, but I forgot where we were talking about.
So do you use Google? Do you use AI?
Yeah, so
You
right.
talk
Sorry,
to
sorry.
people.
The pain points. Yes, the pain points. That's the thing, is you have to find out what your client's pain points are. So in order to find out what their pain points are, what problem are you going to solve for them? So you go on Google and you type in, like if I was doing renovation, where do I find, how do I get started? How do I get blueprints? What's the first thing I do when I want to renovate my house? How do I reach out to somebody? How do I find how do I know if a general contractor is giving me the right price? Once you find what other people are searching for, and you'll know that because it'll be at the top of the list of the
Right.
questions, what their answers are and what the questions are. I mean, you know how people do it all the time. What is construction? And then it'll finish the sentence for you, and whatever sentence is finishing is the top one in your area, right? So then when you're doing your marketing material, your website, or talking on the phone, you address those pain points in your marketing material, because that means those are the things that people are trying to find right now. So you're going to come up on SEO on Google, and you're going to be, somebody's ears going to be perking up, like go get the grocery store, and I'm talking to somebody and somebody else says, hey, I renovating my bathroom and this thing happened, what do I do now? And I love that. I love when people text me, I'm at the tile store and I don't know how to pick out the right color grout. Like, I love that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's where you just talking with people. And if you start saying those pain points, this is what I solve for people, they're going to come to you. They just,
well, I'm thinking about me, and that's why I'm digging deeper. I do these for my own purposes. Why not today start as a podcast? And then I started an LLC, just not sure where I'm taking it.
right.
So starting a business with an abstract idea, a phrase, like, how would you dig deeper on that? I mean, I'm doing some coaching and mastermind and events, got swag and all the things, but I almost feel like I'm going too many places.
Well, because again, step back, and because you are predicting what your client wants instead of actually letting your client dictate to you what they need.
Yeah. And where do I
I've
find
been
that?
there, and I've been there. You're just trying to guess. Like, I want all the pieces in place before I sort of like launch the whole thing, and then you sort of wasted your time. You didn't need a 10-page website. And I'm not saying you. I'm just saying you didn't really need a 10-page website to sell your business, because it's about the personal part. You know what I mean? You don't know. So that's why I said to sort of trickle it out, talk to friends, talk to people, join groups, go on Facebook pages where people do what you do and see what they're saying. You don't even have to, be a fly on the wall, join a podcast group or join a charity group Facebook page where you can see how they're communicating and what people are saying. I was talking to my marketing person today, and she said, as I've been pushing my webinars, and it's free because it's free for, certain groups for sure. But she said, don't use the icons anymore. Like when you're posting about a promo, it has like the fire and the check mark, and
Really? Which I like seeing that you
right,
do.
I do too.
It
And
caught
she's
my
like,
attention.
well, because she follows the marketing world. She says those icons, it screams that chat wrote it for you. That's what people think now. And it's a big thing. So now you don't use those anymore. But because she's in that, and she's, on the forums and reading the pages, that's why she's up on everything. You know what I mean? And that's what I do with construction. I go on and I join, renovations Facebook pages, and I read what people are talking about.
So do you ever sleep?
I get up at 5 a.m. because I get 2 good full hours. Is the best time to think for me and get work done, because at 7:30, 8 o'clock is when my guys and my crews in construction are on site, and they're, getting the plywood, and somebody didn't show up or got the wrong paint color, whatever the heck's going on, So yeah.
You're currently renovating a house.
Oh yeah. We have made
living in the house that you're renovating?
I'm living in a house that I'm renovating. Yes.
Okay.
It's 8,000 square feet of all renovation. Plus I have multiple jobs in Florida that that I'm helping the crews run. Yeah. And unfortunately, some of my clients that we just finished their houses last year were lost their house in the floods when the hurricanes came. So they are, we're trying to very quickly put their house back together so they can get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we have the crews and we were able to jump in and get it done. So, and I have clients here too, because I have crews here too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and a new business, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I was going to say, all the things you're doing are very exciting. So how would you, I know we've kind of talked around it, but encourage somebody to say, why not today, and do the things? And I'm thinking of somebody I know that I'd love to connect you with that loves decorating. She can build stuff. I'm definitely I don't have those genes in my body, but and she's like, I'd be great at this, but she's working a job because she needs that job and is scared to death to try something new. And so how would you encourage somebody like that to get started?
Yeah, exactly. Well, if she really loves start doing it for a friend, and then promote you did it for a friend. Social media, or share that information, and somebody else will speak up and say they need it. That's kind of how it's just planting a seed. And then it's a good way for you to find out if you really love it, or if you think you like it. You like doing it for yourself. And that's the thing. I think my biggest regret is not getting a hobby. Probably what I needed.
Work is my hobby, I found.
Yeah. I know you had Sam Horn on recently. Kudos to you, because that was a big catch there.
Well, I didn't realize it until she was on. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know you were such a rock star.
She is a rock star
But you
for
know
sure.
what? I will say one of my superpowers is I'm not afraid to ask. Like,
Oh,
so what's the worst thing somebody can say is no. And there's, in my other career with Mary Kay, I've known a lot of the super duper top people and invited them to stuff and they've come. People are like, why? It's like, she asked.
right. That's right. That's right. Well, you know what? What I've learned is it's kind of like when they say, when's a good time to have kids? And we have 6 kids and 2 grandkids. There's no such thing as the right time to have
Oh,
kids.
no,
So there's never the right time to start your business. There's never the
no,
perfect time. So
no.
just baby steps. Again, it
Got to
just,
do it. Why not today?
that's right.
And
Just,
act on those moments.
yeah. Well, when I hear why not today, I think about the times that I've, said this isn't the right moment, and that's why I think the perfect moment doesn't exist. You create it, right? And I think that's just, again, if you're passionate about it, it will drive you. It really will drive you. And maybe
Yeah.
you're even just passionate about going on that 2-week cruise that you want to go on, because that's just as much of a driver for me as being passionate about what I'm doing.
Yeah. And
Because,
you have to work for it. And
right.
several years ago, my brother wanted to gift my mom a trip to Italy. He's like, but maybe she'll just go on her own. I'm like, she's not going by herself. And he's like, well, who wants to go? I'm like, I'll go. And I didn't have the money set aside to go on a trip to
Right.
Italy. And we decided the end of August and we were on an airplane October 1st.
Oh
Well,
my God, that's amazing.
because I have my own business and I know how to hustle and work, like I was able to, and when you have your own business, you have that capability to work a little harder and make more. If you're working for somebody else, you're basically on a fixed income unless you're getting paid commissions. That
Right.
you get paid what you get paid, whether you work really hard or slack all day long
Yeah.
and don't really do much, you're still getting paid the same amount. And, and like professions like teachers, like you can be the best teacher that ever lived and you're still going to get paid the same as the same teacher that taught as long as you did.
Well, that's why you do a little bit on nights, a little bit on the weekends, and until you get enough clientele that you can cut back on your hours or part-time, or, luckily, maybe even quit altogether, if you have
But
other
it
income.
does take an entrepreneurial mindset. There are a lot of people that will never own their own business because
That's
they will
okay.
never, yeah, and they'll never, and we need all those people, but they
Yes.
don't understand. I've got a good friend in the teaching world and like our worlds are so different. And like, she's like, are you done working? I'm like, I'm never done working.
Right. Right.
you know,
Exactly.
but and
Yeah.
I love what, when people are like, oh, you got to work. I'm like, oh, I get to work. I love what I do.
Right. Well, I mean,
It's a
my
different mindset.
husband's from military family. My husband's 21 and a half years in the Air Force. And he definitely needs a real job. Like I said, I call it a real job. You
Yeah.
hit, gets up and has to go have somewhere to go.
Somebody
Well,
tell them what to do.
he, well, he's used to that. Yeah. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
yeah, I'm
that's
not very
good.
employable.
And
And that's
again,
okay. It takes every kind.
well,
So
I
I
think at the end of the day, why not today isn't really a question. It's an opportunity. That's what
oh,
I look,
absolutely. I
you
love
know,
that. Why not today is not a question, an opportunity.
it's an opportunity.
Yep, so true. So I always try to tie my guests back to my dad. And people are like, well, I
Oh,
never knew your dad. And one of the questions is, how do you know my dad? And so as we talk, and I know we've had a conversation before, and I think a lot of the things that I could tie back is you working in Florida and he redeveloped St. Petersburg. He was a city planner,
yes.
and
Canals.
with
Yeah.
all the redevelopment and a lot of the same things it sounds like you're doing, um, and making a difference in, he always owned his own company as long as I was alive. Um, and so, watching that and him developing in different companies.
And he
And
did I mean, St. Pete, everybody wants to live in St. Pete. It's such a cool town.
yeah, he did a lot
City.
of different, we heard him talking about it. And then as I've gotten older, I've gone to these places. I'm like, oh, I was in Rochester and I'm like, oh yeah, my dad worked on the redevelopment of this. I'm like, oh, I'm sitting right here. So it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah. Oh, and
But
that's my, because I geek out on economic development. I know that sounds crazy, but I love that part. I love, being part of that in the community, because I'm on the board of the local planning agency and the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, and of course the chair of historic preservation advisory boards. But that's all city. It's all growing the city. It's all
Yep.
preserving, but also
He
I'm all
actually,
moving forward.
he taught a class at a local middle school, and it was called Boomtown. And I don't know if
Oh,
you'd be interested. I still have a not even a DVD, a VHS tape of it,
oh
and
gosh.
a whole notebook on all his notes on it. But he would go into the school and bring empty cereal boxes and things and have the kids design a city.
Oh, I
What's
love that.
important and what should be in here. And the joke he shared all the time was, one of the kids are like, so when you get out of college, where are you going to live? And one kid said, my room.
Yeah, that's probably where my kids would still be. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he did that. So lots of similarities. Well, thank you, Linda, for all your insight and ideas and encouragement. Anything else you'd like to share before we close?
No, I mean, again, if you're not making money while you sleep, you'll work till the day you die. So that's the idea. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That'll
so true.
encourage you if nothing else.
Well, thank you for being the guest and sharing all
Oh,
your
I love
stories. And
it.
I'm excited about where Why Not Today is going with Why Not Today swag that I am partnering with nonprofits, that if you buy a t-shirt or a cup, that a percentage is going to go to a different nonprofit, and we're going to keep switching them up because I am passionate about that.
Oh,
So just giving back makes a difference. So thank you for everybody for listening and joining us on this inspiring journey. Remember, every day is an opportunity to take action, chase your dreams, and make a difference. So why not today?
yeah.
Make sure you subscribe, share, and keep pushing forward. And you can find everything you need to know about Why Not Today at the whynottodaypodcast.com. And
And
again,
find me on Facebook.
yes, and I will share all your contact
Yeah,
information.
I love meeting new people.
Yeah. So, well, thank you. And until next time, everybody, stay motivated, keep making things happen, and say, why not today? Bye.
Right. Thanks.